Welcome back again to week 8 of TGFF Game Day. It is finally Game Day week again. Jay is going to be joining us again today, along with all of our other friends of the show. So it was another great week of football, Jay. Another crazy deal going on in every conference. We had a ton of upsets, a lot of good games last week too. So we'll be going through all of those this week as well. But we look forward to another great slate of games again this week across the nation. And we'll be talking about all of those this week. We've even got some awesome things coming out from the HBCUs this week. We got some D2 schools we're going to be talking about. So looking forward to another great week of that. So we're going to dive right into it. Another good friend of the show is going to be our friends over there at Arden's. So we are going to take it away for them, let them give us some love. But Jay, I know you're excited for another week.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And it's great to be here, Justin, with you as always. And great week of football last week. A lot of craziness. And I'm telling you, it's getting fun right now in college football. But like you said, let's get to our friends at Arden's that pay the bills. Thank you, Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina. You can't beat them.
Okay, Bobby, you love Arden's Burger and Grill because you know what? I got me a sampler platter. That's right. She made me a sampler platter of everything Uncle Bobby loves. Look at there. We got the s'mores French toast. Ooh, we got some wings. And we got the powdered burger. And you know what, Uncle Bobby? He loves you some wings, I'm telling you right now. You will not miss. I'll tell you, the double dip wings will make you double dip crazy. I'm telling you right now, it's the best thing you ever put in your mouth. Oh yeah, and French toast. Hey, they serve breakfast all day long. Uncle Bobby loves them for French toast. And folks, the paladin burger. Ooh, blueberry barbecue sauce, smoked Gouda cheese. Yum yum. Make sure you get down here to Arden's Burger and Grill Central. Uncle Bobby, I commend it, recommend it, everything that is amended, I do it here at Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina. And don't forget, they're going to open a place called Beef and Ribbies. That's right, it's going to be so good it sticks to your ribbies and makes you do this all day long. I'm telling you right now, come to Arden's Burger and Grill.
Welcome back to the show again. Thanks so much to our good friends over there at Arden's. As well, we love their food. Their food's always the best thing you can get in Central South Carolina. But Jay, it's going to be that time for you to take it away for the Southern Conference again. That's going to be our Southern Conference news sponsored again by Arden's as well. So Jay's got some good stuff for us again this week from news and notes from the SoCon. So appreciate your input as always, Jay.
Hello everybody, this is Jay here for the Southern Conference for TGFF Game Day. First of all, we just want to commend the Southern Conference raising over $9,000 so far for the World, WCK, which is the World Central Kitchen, an organization that harnesses the power of food to nourish communities and strengthen the economies worldwide. We want to thank Michael Cross and everything that he has done at the Southern Conference for stepping in, helping out those in Asheville and surrounding areas that have been affected by Hurricane Helena. And we just want to give him and the Southern Conference a huge shout out for what they're doing. If you want to donate, go to Southern Conference website. That is the southernconference.com. SoConsports.com. You can go there, and there's a link there that will lead you straight to the donation link. All right, we also want to go now over to the games coming up this past week. Of course, Furman got just completely manhandled by UT Chat. Chattanooga is a very experienced team. Furman's got a lot of young players, and they was able to get 5 turnovers, 2 questionable, but we won't go there. Regardless, they came into that game and handled Furman just physically. just moved them around, and UT Chat was able to get the win this past week. Also, we want to give a shout out to Wofford, who beat VMI 31-16. Paul Seeley, passing leader, 188 yards, had a great game for Wofford. So Wofford was able to get the win over the VMI. Then we go to Western Carolina, who Furman sees this week, beat the Citadel 30-16. Cole Gonzalez, 294 yards passing. A great game. A veteran QB, so he really gave the Citadel fits in that game. So congratulations to Western Carolina. All right, ETSU gets back again in the winners column, taking out Sanford 31-28. Quincy Crittenden, I hope I got that right, 306 yards. I tell you what, it was a crazy game. ETSU ekes it out 31-28. And then Princeton versus Mercer. Mercer got a 34-7 win. And, of course, Mercer will have a harder test this coming week. And they will be taking on Sanford this week. Mercer will be taking on Sanford at 3 p.m. on ESPN+. That game is going to be a tough one to call, but I think Mercer is going to keep its undefeated ways. I think they have got a showdown with UT Chattanooga coming up pretty soon, and I just that game is going to be really fun to watch for the Southern Conference Championship. I think that's the two teams that's probably going to be there. Western Carolina takes on Furman at 2 o'clock. I'll be there for that game. Furman's pretty banged up, young team. Western Carolina's coming in off a great win. Man, I hate picking against Furman, but Western Carolina looks so strong. So give me Western Carolina over Furman this week, even though I hope Furman does win. Citadel goes to VMI, two teams that are trying to get their identities, two teams that are cadet schools, military schools, going to be battling this weekend in this game. Give me the Citadel over VMI. I really hope VMI can get things. I think their coach has really turned things around there, but he's just struggling right now. They're trying to get their players that they need, and I think they're doing a good job looking towards the future. And then, of course, our final game is Wofford at UTC. That's UT Chattanooga. UT Chattanooga, after what I've seen, is a very, very strong team. Wofford, not taking nothing away from them. I think they're a good team also, but I think UTC will take it this weekend. All right, folks, that's our Southern Conference moment news and notes, and I appreciate you joining in us on TGFF Game Day. Also, make sure, like I said, go to SoConSports.com, hit the donate button, and help the SoCon raise money for Hurricane Helena relief by helping the World Central Kitchen.
Thank you again so much, Jay, for bringing us the news and notes and the week that was, the week that will be from the Southern Conference. This week we will be talking about our good friends now over at Redbubble, though. So Redbubble is going to be sponsoring our next segment of the show, which we are going to go to our good friend over at the SSN Army as well. He's going to break down the American Conference for us this week. He's also going to talk about the week that was this past week as well. So looking forward to hearing that. Thanks again for all that as well. So use code FurmanJoust as well on the Redbubble as well to get your discount gear as well. So we look forward to seeing all you guys wearing out our hats and wearing out our shirts, everything. Get your game day gear there. So looking forward to hearing that. Let's take it away to the American.
What's up, TGFF family? It's your boy, Cuthbert from Sidelines Army. I'm just here for the AAC wrap-up. Before I get started, I just want to say we made it through Milton, A-OK. Really thankful we never lost power. Lost the fence on a couple sides, but I've already put some work to that. A lot of people not nearly as fortunate as we were. So if you have the ability or the opportunity to donate some money or some time or anything you can to any of the people who suffered the effects of Milton or Helene, or God forbid Nadine turns into something next week, a little help goes a long way. So in the meantime, just to give you a heads up, if it looks like I have some cool effects going on in my video, those aren't cool effects. I dropped my phone and the screen's cracked. So it may be a little janky, but we're going to ride with it. So recapping last week, we're going to start things off with my Army Black Knights, who absolutely laid the smackdown on UAB. They won 44-10. It was 34-3 at halftime. Halfway through the third quarter, we had second string in. By the end of the game, it was an entire third string playing. Really, Coach Monken is doing everything he can to get experience to some of those younger players, which for a team like Army that doesn't really utilize the transfer portal, that's really incredible. If you heard my call to the group of 5 guys that played on their Monday episode, I was probably overstating things a little bit, but in the high of a win, you just sort of let it fly. But Army definitely has a very real chance to make the AAC championship. I think they've got a puncher's chance to win it. I think it's going to come down to Army or Navy or Tulane for the AAC. But, Memphis is still hanging around, and they only have 1 loss. Anything can happen in this back half of the season. Again, Army absolutely rolled. Bryson Daly, Campbell Award winner for the week. 5 total touchdowns, 1 in the air, 4 on the ground. Kanye Udo drops another 100-yard game, gets another touchdown. And on defense, Casey Larkin, 2 interceptions. 70% of the earth is covered by water, and the other 30% are covered by Casey Larkin. In other news, Memphis bests a Byram Brown less USF team 21-3. Unfortunately, the Bulls missing their quarterback. They're really struggling on offense. It's unclear if he's going to be back this week. I'm genuinely a little surprised that Memphis only put up 21. This game did not end up getting canceled because of Milton, but it was relocated to Orlando. So it had a very strange feel. USF is missing their quarterback. Things were just a little off on this game. So I'm very curious to see. Memphis coming off a bye week, I would have expected them to put more than 21 up on USF. But, I'm still curious to see if they are really going to be the class of the AAC or if they're just a good team in the AAC. Then the last 2 games of the conference this past weekend, absolute nail-biters. University of North Texas goes to FAU. FAU all of a sudden finding footing, puts up 37, up late, and in an absolute thriller, North Texas snatches victory from the jaws of defeat. They ended up winning 41-37. Once again, North Texas, their offense potent, powerful, and dangerous. Their defense almost non-existent. They gave up 37 and had to win late against an FAU team that is finding its footing, but that was averaging 17 a game before this against FBS opponents. And then last but not least, we had Rice with UTSA. 4 seconds to go in the game, and E.J. Warner puts in an 18-yard pass touchdown to win the game 29-27. Another great nail-biter at the finish. Dean Connors, the Rice Owl, the offense runs through him. He wasn't able to get a lot going on the ground. I think he only had maybe 26 or 27 yards on the ground, but he put up over 100 yards receiving on 5 catches, including a beautiful 69-yard touchdown that he took most of the way with his legs. Unfortunately for the Roadrunners, their fall from grace appears to just be getting further down. So, jumping around the league, finally, after 2 weeks of lots and lots of buys for lots of teams, everybody's playing, and even more importantly, everyone is playing a conference game. So this is going to be a real big week for the American. Everybody's playing in conference. A lot of things might be getting decided. The trajectory of the second half of the year starts this weekend. The game of the week, I have the Mean Green of North Texas going to Memphis. Now, Memphis is a 10-point favorite at the time of my recording. This is Tuesday night, so things could change. This is a primetime game. Huge implications for the AAC championship. Memphis is 1 loss to Navy. UNT is 1 loss, but it was out of conference to Texas Tech. So, in a sense, both of these teams are really sort of in the driver's seat right now. If either one of them can win out this season in conference play, they're booking a ticket to the championship. So this game is really, really going to be wild. Two strong, powerful offenses. I did say, based on Memphis's only putting up 21 against a weak, beaten down USF team last week, we'll see if they're really going to show up and be ready to play. I think this game's going to have big plays, big score, highlights galore. So definitely look for North Texas against Memphis. Now, the two games that I have to watch for my other games of the week, the first one is my Army Black Knights hosting East Carolina. Now, Army, as of now, are 15-point favorites. Now, this is the first time in 64 years that Michie Stadium has hosted a ranked Army Black Knight team. I expect standing room only. This season, Michie Stadium is at reduced capacity because we are replacing one side of our stands. I think it's going to be absolutely bumping. Now, while Army is a 15-point favorite, I think what a lot of people might be discounting is something that Jeff Monken talked about quite a bit earlier today in his weekly press conference, which is ECU is staffed with coaches who are very familiar with the triple option. Their head coach used to coach a triple option team. Their defensive coordinator spent 2 years at a team that ran the triple option. Obviously, they play Navy every year or whatever, 2 out of every 3. This is a team that's very familiar with this system. As I always say about triple option teams, if you run the system right, you can play with anybody in the country, and if the team you're playing knows how to defend it, you're going to be in a dogfight with any team in the country. It's looking like Garcia is going to get the start for the Pirates at quarterback. They have Garcia, and they also have Caden Hauser. Listening to people who know what they're talking about East Carolina, it appears that Hauser is the smarter quarterback, but that Garcia is just physically gifted. So it'll be very interesting to see if they stick with one QB or if they try what Tulsa tried a few weeks ago and have more of like a rotating 2 QB set to try and throw the Black Knight defense off. And then the other game I have to watch this week is going to be Charlotte heading to Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis. Now, Navy is, again, a heavy favorite. We're talking about Navy minus 16. Now, Navy's coming off the bye. They're rolling. They're undefeated. They are ranked. So is Army, and a little bit higher. No big deal. So you'd think that they will be rocking and rolling, especially with a team like Charlotte. But Charlotte, who has kind of been week in, week out, a little bit of a doormat, they find themselves 2-0 in the conference. And guess what? They're coming off a bye too. So Biff Pogge's going to have them ready. And coming off that monster rivalry win over East Carolina 2 weeks ago, I think this might be a game worth keeping your eye on. Elsewhere around the league, we've got Tulsa going to Temple, another game where both teams are coming off the bye, both teams looking to get their feet under them. Temple is favored by 2, but I think Tulsa is going to roll in this one. I think the Hurricane is going to come to town, and Temple's going to leave the game 1-6. UAB travels to USF. Boy, I don't know what to say about this game. Can the Bulls find something? Can the Dragons find something? After that Army game last week, an absolute beatdown. It looks like UAB is lost. It looks like Dilfer has lost the locker room. I think the same can maybe be said for USF, maybe not quite to the same extent. Is Bynum going to be back at quarterback? We don't know. Looking at Twitter, the USF fan base appears to be revolting. I think that's just kind of a hallmark of the USF fan base on Twitter. And I say that as someone who got his graduate degree from USF and who has a soft spot in his heart for the Bulls. But I fear this year is getting away from them. Maybe they can get back on track against a weak UAB team, but that one might be a coin flip, honestly. FAU is going to travel to UTSA. Now, FAU is coming off a heartbreaking loss. It was that last-minute loss to North Texas. But they look like they're really starting to figure things out. Cam Fancher, the play calling, they were getting flea flickers involved and reverses, and they were getting a little wild and crazy. So, UTSA, who's, they're falling from grace. this could be FAU's chance to really kind of plant a flag and go, hey, we're not done yet. We're not done. UTSA only has 2 wins this year, and they're both against FCS schools. Well, I mean, technically Kennesaw State is FBS, but I think they are maybe the worst FBS team in the country. So, that kind of only half counts. And then last but not least, Rice is traveling to Tulane. Rice coming off that great last-second victory over UTSA, and I think they're about to run into a Tulane buzzsaw. Tulane, we've talked about every week. They are still undefeated in the conference, but they got 2 losses. They lost to a ranked Oklahoma in Norman. They lost to a ranked Kansas State in Manhattan. They are still very much alive for the AAC championship. They just got to win out in the conference. Here's the other thing. Because Tulane is already 2-loss, their only shot at the college football playoff is they have to win the AAC championship. They have to do so convincingly. They have to win every in-conference game by as much as they possibly can. That's why they hung 71 on UAB 2 weeks ago. Army only put up 44 against UAB. It's not because they couldn't get to 70. It's because halfway through the third, they were resting their starters and they were putting in their second string. Tulane has no intention of doing that. Tulane knows they have to put up big numbers against everybody in order to hope that Boise State can lose and UNLV can lose and all of these other things have to happen for them to hopefully squeeze into the college football playoff. The long and the short, Tulane is favored by 22.5. I think you give those 22.5 points because I think Tulane is going to focus on shutting down Connors, who really the offense runs through for Rice, and just running that score up. Excuse me. I'm getting ahead of myself. The last point I just wanted to say again, we made it through Hurricane Milton, and anything you can do for anybody in any of the communities in Florida or up and down the East Coast affected by these hurricanes would really be appreciated. But in the meantime, I got to get back to real life, and I'm pumped for this weekend. Go Army, beat Pirates.
Welcome back into the show. That was another great segment, great news from the American as well. We also, again, want to thank our friends over at Redbubble as well. Get your gear there as well. But next up, we got our good friend from the Sunbelt. We're going to be talking that this week, and that segment this week is going to be sponsored by our good friends over at Clemson Wine Bar. So we'll let you guys talk, Sunbelt this week. Give us the goods from there. So take it away.
Hello, everybody. This is Jay here with your Sunbelt for this week. Unfortunately, John was not able to get it done. He's been battling some health issues, so we just want to send our prayers out to John over there at the Teal Roost. This week, we got Coastal Carolina will be taking on University of Louisiana. This game is at 12 o'clock on Saturday. Looking forward to this game. I think Coastal Carolina will bounce back and get the win this week. And good luck to them and their team. Friday night, tonight, we got Marshall will be playing. And right now, they'll be taking on Gaston. So give me Marshall in that game. Texas State will be taking on Old Dominion. This is a good rivalry. This game starts at 3:30 on ESPN+. Give me Old Dominion in this game. I think Texas State's just not at Old Dominion's level quite yet. So give me Old Dominion in this game. JMU takes on Gasco. That's right, Gasco. Excuse me, I called it Gasco. It's the Eagles from Georgia Southern. So give me Georgia Southern in that game. They'll be taking on JMU, and I think Georgia Southern is just ready for a whole nother level, and give me them at that game. Then we have Arkansas State taking on Southern Miss. This game could be real fun. I think that when it's all said and done, Southern Miss will take Arkansas State down. So give me Southern Miss over Arkansas State. That's this week's Sun Belt. Sorry I'm so quick with it. Wasn't quite ready to do it all, but I do want to give a shout out to John at the Tillery's. He does a great job on the Sunbelt each and every week. We hope he gets to feeling better. So I just kind of crashed this one to try to help out. So thank you for joining us with the Sunbelt Conference News and Notes.
Welcome back, everybody. That was some great news about the Sun Belt. We want to thank everybody over at the Clemson Wine Bar. Tiffany and her crew do such a great job. Make sure you go by there. Clemson Wine Bar in Patrick Square in Pendleton. All right, well, let's go to our favorite little guy. We're talking about Ralphie. Ralphie, the underdog. He's going to give us the underdog pick from Sitting Pretty Dog Grooming. Alicia and her group, they will take care of you and all your pet dog grooming needs. Sitting Pretty Dog Grooming. Give them a call. Here it is, Ralphie.
Hello, everybody. It's your old boy, Ralphie. And this week's underdog pick is Louisville over Miami. Oh, Louisville over Miami. This week's underdog pick by Sitting Pretty Dog Grooming. Oh!
It seems to me, Jay, that we always get a great show and a great pick from our good friend over there. Ralphie always never gets it wrong. He can't get it wrong in our world. But, thank you again for our friends over at Sitting Pretty as well. But our next segment as well is going to be brought to you by Doobie. And you can go to doobie.gg to get all of your energy needs there as well. We're going to be taking it to the Big Ten now. And our friends over at Run the Damn Ball. So we appreciate those guys for their information, and we look forward to getting their insight again from the week that was this past and the week that's going to be coming up. Should be another good week in the Big Ten.
All right, Sean, welcome to Week 8 College Football Pick'em. This is Daniel Magnuson with Run the Damn Ball podcast, Nebraska and college football podcast, and Twitter personality, I guess. So happy to be here with you guys. We're going to be doing picks for a lot of games just because I love college football and I already have a lot of picks I put on my show this week. I finally got back to doing weekly shows, hopefully, on Run the Damn Ball. So here we go. We're going to start out with the games tonight. It's Friday right now. I did pick Virginia Tech to win by 4 in my regular podcast. They ended up winning by 21 last night over Boston College. But we'll start out with Florida State at Duke. So this game, first one, gonna go ahead and say that Duke wins. They're the home team. I do think Malik Murphy has really elevated this Duke squad this year as their quarterback, and I like what they have there. I think Florida State, they're a talented team, but everybody knows they're the most disappointing team in college football this year. And, maybe Brock Glenn gives them a little more juice as their quarterback, but still, I think Duke's going to be a little better. So give me Duke in that one. We got Oregon at Purdue. Purdue had their best showing of the season last week against Illinois. They were down 27-3 on the road, and they came back to take the lead by 3, 43-40, with about a minute left. And then Illinois went down and kicked a field goal, ended up winning in overtime. Illinois, just a good overtime team. We'll get to them later. But, yeah, I think Purdue's definitely improved based upon, giving Illinois a good game. But Oregon is one of the top 5 teams in the country. I think that this could be sneakily close at times, but I think Oregon's just going to be too good, and they're going to pull away and win by 3 scores or more. We got Oklahoma State at BYU. Give me BYU. They're not, super talented, but they're just a really cohesive team, if that makes sense. I think Retzloff's a good quarterback for them. They use a bunch of different running backs. They're one of the most, they use a lot of different personnel on offense. Their defense is the strength of their team, and I think they just have a better football team than Oklahoma State. Yes, Oklahoma State, probably more talented. Alan Bowman's not better than Retzloff this year, that's for sure. Maybe Ollie Gordon finally pops off, but they haven't maximized what they have this year, and I think BYU, especially with them being at home, I just can't pick Oklahoma State right now. They're not. Oklahoma State was my pick, I think, to even win the Big 12 this year, and they just have completely underperformed. So, BYU has one of the most beautiful, stadium with the mountains behind the stadium as well, kind of like Colorado does. So, and those blue uniforms are perfect. Come on, I'm not never even really high on BYU. I thought they were overrated with Zach Wilson a couple years ago, but this team's fun right now. So anyway, Miami at Louisville. I think y'all are not gonna like to hear this if you are a fan of some other teams in the ACC, but I think Miami has another one of those games where they are gonna find a way to win, even though like they're gonna snatch victory out of the hands of the defeat from Louisville. I think Louisville is going to give them a really good game. It's going to be close, but I do think Cam Ward is the difference in this one. He's better than Tyler Shuck, and they're just going to find a way to win because of Cam Ward. That's going to be the difference. Louisville definitely can win this, but should be a fun one. Virginia at Clemson. I usually predict scores for these games. I did not even put a score down for this one. I think Clemson wins convincingly here. They're really rolling right now. Nebraska at Indiana. I am a Nebraska fan, Nebraska podcast at times, and I got the Huskers flag right behind me, or this way. Yeah, so I think Nebraska wins 35-24. I do think Indiana's offense is the toughest offense that Nebraska is going to face this year. Maybe not the most talented. Colorado's probably more talented, but Indiana has the most organized and well thought out approach on offense. They got a lot of good players, both sides of the ball. Rourke is a good quarterback for them. So I could go more in depth, but I feel like a lot of people already have on this game, and I just think Nebraska is going to be better because of their physicality. It's going to be close throughout, but their physicality of Nebraska is something Indiana hasn't seen this year. It's going to be the difference. So give me Nebraska 35-24. I think a defensive turnover, either for a touchdown or just to close out the game, is what Nebraska is going to do to Indiana. Auburn at Missouri. I just see an upset here. I don't know why. I don't think Missouri is what they were last year. And I think Auburn's going to find a way to pull an upset here just because they've lost some games they probably shouldn't this year. And sometimes when that happens, it flips the other way around where you win games you probably maybe not supposed to win, so according to some people. But college football is unpredictable. That's why I'm picking them. Wisconsin and Northwestern. This is going to be one of the most boring games of the day, but it is on that beautiful lakefront stadium that Northwestern has on their campus. Their little makeshift stadium. I wish I could visit that before. I think their new stadium comes around in 2026. Maybe I will. Nebraska won't play there though. So give me Wisconsin convincingly though. I do think Northwestern's offense is going to get exposed for being average at best or below average, and Wisconsin's a little bit better. I do think their quarterback, Braden Locke, has actually been impressive. I think he's probably just as good as what they had with what's his name? Van Dyke, Tyler Van Dyke, I think was his name, but he got hurt for the season. So I think they got a good quarterback there. And I always thought they'd have a good season, really. They had a bad showing against Bama, but they've gotten better. UCLA at Rutgers. This is another one of those, I think, similar to Auburn at Missouri. A lot of people would pick Rutgers here, but I do think UCLA, they've had some really they fought hard the last couple of games they've had, even though they've lost. I do think that Rutgers offense, besides their run game, is just not that impressive. I do think UCLA is due to get a win that people don't expect, and this is that game for them. I think Garbers is a better quarterback than Kaliak Manis. I think UCLA's defense is probably comparable to Rutgers' defense, really. Probably not quite as good, but I'd say talent-wise is right there. So, and they're improving. They gave Minnesota a really good game last week. So UCLA is my pick. Arizona State. What's up with my wrist right now? It's tight. I don't know. Arizona State at Cincinnati. Oh boy, Jeff Sims is now the quarterback for Arizona State because Sam Levitt is out for 4 to 6 weeks. They both transferred in from Big Ten schools. Obviously, Jeff Sims was the Nebraska quarterback for 2 games last year, and then he played sparingly after the Colorado performance, which we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, because he's the starter and because I think Cincinnati actually is – I mean, these are the 2 surprise teams in the Big 12 this year, actually. I really do think Cincinnati, though, with them being at home and having the better quarterback in Brendan Sorsby this game, they're going to – Corey Kiner is probably going to have a good game. Obviously, Scadaboo is a good running back for Arizona State, but I do think Cincinnati is going to be a little better. Better wide receivers from them, too, in my opinion. So give me Cincinnati. South Carolina at Oklahoma. I'm going to keep this short and brief. If you watched Oklahoma try to play offense last week, there's no way I'm picking them to win this game. I think South Carolina has too much. They're not the best passing offense, but they're just going to have too much in the tank, and they're going to find a way to win this game on the road. So Yeah, that's my pick there. Alabama at Tennessee. I think Tennessee has kind of been exposed a little bit for having a offense that isn't great right now. They have a good offense, but not a great offense. I think Bama's offense is better, and Jalen Milroe is going to be the difference in this game. 35-28, give me Bama. Should be a fun one. It's a rivalry game. Bama's kind of owned them this century, but yeah, that's what I see so far. Notre Dame at Georgia Tech. I think this could be sneaky close. I think Georgia Tech plays up to their competition, but Notre Dame's defense is really good. Xavier Watts, Jack Kaiser. I think they have a better quarterback, a better run game. That's going to be the difference. Close game, but Notre Dame will win. Michigan at Illinois. So if you guys remember the Penn State Illinois game from 2021 where it went to like 5 or 6 overtimes, it was like literally a 2-point shootout going back and forth. I think that's the kind of game we're in for. It's going to be down to the wire. They're going to go to overtime, and Illinois is going to win another overtime game. This time over Michigan at home. I think they got a better quarterback, and they got a more hungry football team right now. That's going to be the difference. NC State at California. Part of me doesn't even want to pick this because both these teams are just underwhelming. Cal blew their chance to get a big win against Miami, and I think they're kind of in a funk right now, especially after losing to Pitt. I think that was 27 and what was the score of their game against Pitt? I can't remember the score. Anyway, give me NC State. I think they're improving right now. They had a rough start to the season. They got exposed early, as they should. They weren't very good. Even when they were ranked, I knew they weren't going to be good. But they're doing better now. So give me NC State. Houston at Kansas. I think Kansas is finally going to win a game in the Big 12. Convincingly, they're finally going to show out. They have a lot of talent, but for a Kansas team, they have a lot of talent, and they haven't really lived up to that this season. They're 1-5. They've lost a lot of close games. Hawaii at Washington State. Give me Washington State in a shootout. I think Mateer is a better quarterback. Should be a fun one. USC at Maryland. I think this one's going to be close because it's across the country. Here comes USC all the way to Maryland, but I think USC is going to have enough just to win this game. They have a better quarterback. Billy Edwards, yikes, against Northwestern. Like multiple turnovers in that second half that just destroyed their chances to even compete in that game. So I think USC will win a close one. Colorado, Arizona, another team. I know I've talked about how Utah's been disappointing this year. I think Arizona's been disappointing this year, and I wasn't even high on them. I thought that like a 7-5 season was a good season for them, like maybe 8-4 at best this season. And Colorado, I thought was going to go 6-6 or 7-5, and they might even be better than that. So Colorado, I think, with Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn giving it a go, I think they just have more in the tank, and they're going to find a way to win a really close game. By 1 point on me. Put it on me. Colorado wins a close game over Arizona on the road. I think for some reason this team thrives in chaos, and they love when people don't like them. It gives them energy. And Arizona's crowd is going to be all against them, and they're going to feel great about it, and they're going to go find a way to win. This is a different Colorado team than what we saw against Nebraska. Nebraska made them better after they got exposed for having after Shiloh Sanders got exposed twice now against Nebraska and against Kansas State. Now, and their offense having to adapt to not being 4 wide all the time. They've gotten better. Baylor, Texas Tech. I think it's going to be really close in this one. Baylor's not had a good season so far. I just think Texas Tech has more positivity, and they got a better organization right now going there. So give me Texas Tech in a close one. I think them being at home also helps. Texas A&M at Mississippi State. I really want to pick an upset here because of what Mississippi State was able to do against Georgia. Just kind of keep it somewhat competitive. They only lost by 10, but I do think A&M is definitely a better team, even though Wigman is very unlikable as their QB. Personality-wise, I do think that A&M will find a way because of the run game. LSU at Arkansas, I really like Jaquindon Jackson, their running back. I always have. And I do think this is an upset waiting to happen. Give me Arkansas, 24-17. I don't like Brian Kelly either. I'm just giving you straight up like my feelings towards certain people. Like if I don't like people, I don't root for them. And I'm not picking them. Georgia at Texas. I think Texas wins this one 24-20. I think it's a sloppy game. I don't think Georgia is going to be playing with more desperation. If they lose, they might not make the SEC title game. but Texas is better. Their defense is better, so they're gonna win. UCF at Iowa State. Give me Iowa State. They're having a good year. They're one other team that's I thought they were maybe 7-5 team this year, and they might be like a 9-3, 10-2 type team. Might end up in the Big 12 title actually. So I think they'll win a close one. I think UCF will come to play, but Iowa State still, because of their defense forces turnovers, they're gonna find a way to win. Kansas State at West Virginia. I do think I'm picking an upset here. I think West Virginia is going to win, and this is why I don't think that Avery Johnson is full health right now. If he was able to run a bunch, I think Kansas State would win, but I don't think that he's going to want to run with whatever abdominal injury he's dealing with. So I think West Virginia is going to be playing to win a little bit more, and they're going to find a way. Upset. Iowa at Michigan State. This one's going to be boring, but I do think that Michigan State is going to win a really close one in overtime somehow. I think that their passing game is going to expose Iowa. I think Iowa, the best part of their defense is that they can stop the run, but I do think they can get exposed through the air. And I think that Michigan State is going to do that. So I don't think Iowa's offense is worth talking about unless you're just talking about their run game. So yeah, Kentucky at Florida. I think Kentucky's not that great of a roster this year, to be honest with you. You can see that if you look at them statistically. Their win over Ole Miss was the peak of their season, in my opinion. I think Florida is improving right now. Give me Florida 21-6. I think they get a defensive touchdown too. And then SMU at Stanford. I can't pick that because I work for SMU and I'm wearing their gear right now. Just can't do that. UNLV at Oregon State. UNLV is going to win. Oregon State is they're not that good. I mean, Oregon destroyed them. They're not that good. UNLV is probably one of the best Mountain West teams. Probably second to Boise State. We'll see how that goes later in the season. They have a really fun offense too. They run it really well. TCU at Utah. Dude, Utah, I know Zach Wilson's little brother is starting for them this weekend. But I think TCU is going to have a good game. I think they're going to have their best game of the year. They're going to win 27-17. Utah's offense is just too bad. They're not good. And TCU has some good wide receivers that are going to carry them through that game. And then the only thing that can get Utah to win is their defense and Micah Bernard, by the way. But we'll see how that goes. Charlotte at Navy. I'm going to call these games because Navy and Army are ranked, so I got to add them in this week. Charlotte at Navy. Give me Navy. I do like Charlotte's ripped T-shirt, tank top head coach, but give me Navy. They run the ball really well. I like some of their players on offense, especially. And then East Carolina at Army. East Carolina's not very good, obviously. I think Army's got a good rushing attack. Give me Army. Those teams are both undefeated. Those two Navy and Army schools. So that should be fun. And yeah, that's everything. Those are my picks this week. Check out my podcast if you got time. Run the Damn Ball. Type that in. Run the Damn Ball Nebraska is my YouTube. And that should be everything. But you guys have a great week. God bless you all. And yeah, we out. Run the damn ball.
Welcome back in. Another good week from the Big Ten as well. Thank you so much again to Doobie Energy for providing us all of our energy needs here at the show. It's going to be time now, though, that we take it over to Joe. And Joe is going to be handling our Big 12 news and notes, as well as recapping last week and giving us the week that's going to be. So, Joe, we appreciate it. We hope you have a great show. Thanks for the insight. Take it away, Joe.
Folks, I am nothing if I'm not honest. First things first, you know the background looks gross. You know I kind of look gross. I'm on the road. The office is not in commission right now, so I'm a little bit out of sorts. But regardless, we're going to push through this week, and we're going to be back in regular business with the green background behind me. It'll look a lot better next week, so you'll have to give me the benefit of the doubt for this week. That being said, we're still here to talk ball about the Big 12 Conference, entering Week 8, a massive week ahead of us. You've got some really good games. Following an exciting Week 7 slate of games, obviously the biggest takeaway, the best game of the week, I would say, last week in Week 7, Colorado-Kansas State lived up to the expectations. Avery Johnson with a massive game-winning drive. After coming back in the game after being hurt, that proved a lot, and it's something to talk about this week as Kansas State gets set to take on West Virginia. And if you're like me, and I will say this, bet at your own discretion because my picks have not been the hottest, so to speak. If you're like me, you like lines less than 3 points. There is no world that Kansas State should be favored by less than 3 points over West Virginia. Now, I know what you're thinking. West Virginia could be better than they expect. I know that the fans are not happy right now, and a fun storyline for you guys watching at home. Fans have literally started a GoFundMe, and they've raised more than $2,000 to have a prop plane, the advertising planes that say, this lawyer company, if you are hurt or injured. They have literally raised enough money that they're flying a plane over the field that says Fire Neil Brown on the banner. That is must-see TV, if I'm telling you right now. That game, Kansas State, West Virginia, kicks off in Morgantown at 6:30 p.m. on Saturday. I will take the Kansas State Wildcats -2.5. I think that's too low of a spread, especially for two teams heading in different operations. Neil Brown and the boys have not been the greatest this season. They're 2-1. They have a decent record. They're just not firing on the same cylinder, and I will take Kansas State, who feels like they're trending upward, especially with Avery Johnson at the helm, getting better every single week. Next game to talk about. Let's stick with the Colorado K-State theme. Colorado, similar thing, going on the road to take on Arizona. Do I think Arizona's that good? I really don't. I know I've bet them a few times here and they burned me. I don't know that they're a very good football team. Outside of T-Mac and Noah Fafita, I don't think they're all that great. I do think Colorado is better than people expected. If we learned anything in Week 7, it's that Colorado is actually geared to play. I will take the Colorado Buffaloes. Sue me. I'm going to do it. I'm going to roll with Deion Sanders and the boys. I think when they play an imperfect game, like they did against Kansas State, allowing DJ Giddens to run all over the field, when you struggle like that, but still have a chance to win it late, down one possession, I will say, I think you're a pretty good football team. That has some upside. I wouldn't expect Colorado to dip from the Big 12 playoff race, Big 12 conference race, or the playoff race anytime soon, especially with a win over Arizona. They're also actually getting points. They're getting 2.5 points versus Arizona on the road. I will take Colorado on the road +2.5 versus Arizona. My third and final game to talk about. This is a big storyline. Arizona State has been a fan favorite. Kenny Dillingham has been incredible. Big 12 Coach of the Year in my mind. If not for Kalani Sitake, I would still vote for Dillingham, but that's neither here nor there. His quarterback, Sam Levitt, who has been an undersung hero, I would say, for that team, is out for it sounded like anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. I heard reports of 4 to 6. I heard reports of 2 to 4. Regardless, he's out for the next couple of weeks. And the team is starting Jeff Sims at quarterback, the turnover machine himself. They're going on the road to take on Cincinnati, who has one of my favorite Big 12 quarterbacks that I don't think gets enough love nationally. I will take Brendan Sorsby and the Bearcats. I'm usually a K-State guy. I'll take the Cats. In this case, it's the Bearcats. I will take them -5. I know it's a lot of points. Nippert Stadium is electric. I will take them in this football game. I think they're the better football team, especially without their star quarterback. I know Cam Scatterbo's been on a tear. I would think Scott Satterfield's going to load the box and make Jeff Sims beat you with his arm, which I don't think he can do. So those are my 3 picks. Kansas State, -2.5 versus West Virginia. Colorado +2.5 at Arizona. And then I will also take Cincinnati -5 versus Arizona State. But that's going to do it for this week's picks. I know it's not the greatest background. I will be back in regular fashion next week with a better background, better audio, better lighting, etc.
Thanks, Joe, for all that great information. Also, thanks to Pepsi. Shout out to them for sponsoring that segment of the show as well. For all of your great hydration needs as well, you can hit up any of the Pepsi products that are out there. So appreciate that again. And then next up, Jay, we're going to head back out west. We're heading out to the Mountain West again this week, and that's going to be brought to us by our friends at True Victory this week. So truevictory.com, get your gear as well there. Jay's got the code as well for us. Let us know what that one is, Jay.
Furman Joust.
Furman Joust is your code there. So go ahead and get all of your awesome gear. I love the hat, by the way, too. So it should be another good way for you guys to support them as well. So another good part of our show. So take it away for our guys over at the Mountain West.
Everybody, Adam here with the Mountain West portion of the show. Before we get to this week's games, let's take a look back at last week. Ashton Jeanty continued his outstanding season. He went for 217 yards on 31 carries. He also scored a rushing touchdown as he carried Boise State past Hawaii 28-7. The Broncos are now 5-1 on the year, 2-0 in the Mountain West Conference. Hawaii falls to 2-4. They're 0-2 in conference. UNLV ran for 315 yards and 3 scores. They overcame 3 Spencer Petras touchdown passes as they beat Utah State 50-34. The Rebs are now 5-1 in the year and 2-0 in the Mountain West Conference. Utah State 1-5, 0-2 in the conference. It looks like UNLV and Boise State, they're heading for a collision course. They play later this year in an in-conference matchup in the regular season. Looks like they're also going to match up pretty well in the conference championship game later on. Out here in Albuquerque, Devin Dampierre had 3 touchdowns as he carried New Mexico by Air Force 52-37, their second straight win. Lobos up to 2-4, 1-1 in conference play. Air Force down to 1-5, 0-3 in Mountain West Conference play. Elsewhere, with San Diego State topping Wyoming 27-24, Aztecs are also 2-0 in the conference, 3-3 overall. Wyoming drops to 1-5, 1-1 in conference though. Colorado State, a 31-24 win over San Jose State. The Rams are 3-3 on the year, but 1-0 in Mountain West Conference play. San Jose State falls to 4-2, 2-1 in conference play, but still in the race up near the top. Fresno State lost to Washington State 25-17. Nevada got by Oregon State 42-37. All right, on to this week. First of all, in the news, it was announced that Hawaii will be joining the conference, really staying in the conference when conference expansion happens in a couple of years with a bunch of schools leaving to the Pac-12. Hawaii decides, you know what, we're going to stay on with the Mountain West Conference. So the Mountain West Conference right now at 8 teams moving forward. Let's talk about the games now. One big one is UNLV will go to Oregon State. That's a non-conference matchup with the 4-2 Beavers. Game time on Saturday nights at 10 Eastern, 8 Mountain Time. That game will be broadcast on the CW. Now, both teams love to run the football. Anthony Hankerson is at Oregon State, the Colorado transfer. He loves to run it, and Oregon State leans on him. Nevada leans on their running game. They averaged 262 yards on the ground. They had 2 100-yard rushers last week in the win over, in their victory over Utah State. So the question will be, okay, which team will get the better run? Right now, it looks like it's going to be UNLV because Oregon State's defense is horrible against the run. They've allowed 198 yards on the ground this year per game. Last week against Nevada, they gave up 353 yards rushing. So on the other side, UNLV only allows 101 yards on the ground per game. So it's going to be tough sledding for Hankerson in this game and the Beavers backfield against the Rebs defense. I like the Rebs in this one. I mean, Oregon State will keep it close, but in the end, UNLV will be able to pull away. I like the Rebs 40-31. In the second game we're going to look at, New Mexico will take their 2-game winning streak into Logan, Utah, to take on the Utah State Aggies. That game is at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Mountain. It'll be on True TV. Now, UNM has put up back-to-back 50 spots in their contests, and both of them are victories. That's the first time they've put up back-to-back 50 spots since 1916. That's how poor the offense has been here in Albuquerque. They've gone for an average of 293 yards rushing in those 2 contests. Utah State's defense, on the other hand, they struggle against the run. They give up 233 yards a game, and they've given up 305 yards the last 2. Granted, that was against Boise State and UNLV, the top 2 teams in the conference, but nonetheless, this is a really strong running team for the New Mexico Lobos. The Utah State offense is going to keep this one a little close, though, because they average 468 yards a game. They've gone for 500 plus on that Boise State defense and on that UNLV defense that we've talked about. New Mexico is a slight favorite in this one. I expect a high-scoring affair. The over-under the total, I should say, not even the over-under. The total should be in the 80s, if not close to the 90s. I like the Lobos in this one. High-scoring, like I said. 48-41. That would be 3 straight for the Lobos, which would be huge. Our last game that we're going to look at is the battle for the Ram Falcon Trophy between Colorado State and Air Force. That game's in Colorado Springs this Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain on CBS Sports Network. The Falcons have won 7 in a row in this series, but things look like they're going to be changing given Air Force's struggles and Colorado State's slow turnaround. Now, in this one, you can expect the Rams to kind of grind it out. They like balance on offense. They throw for 188 yards a game. They rush for about 130 yards a game. They like to grind it out on defense as well. It's going to be an interesting one because the Falcons, of course, run the triple option. You just don't know what you're going to get. I mean, last week against New Mexico, they put up over 400 yards of offense and 37 points. You just don't know what you're going to get. However, the Rams also like to lean on Anthony Morrow. He has 3 straight 100-yard rushing games. How Morrow goes, the Rams will go. And I expect Morrow to have a pretty decent game in this one. I expect Colorado State to end the 7-game losing streak against Air Force and get a win 42-24. Elsewhere this week, Wyoming will visit San Jose State. That's a pretty big conference game. Fresno State takes on Nevada actually here on Friday night. So you could turn in for a little Mountain West Conference action on Friday night. And later on Saturday, Hawaii will visit Washington State. All right, that'll do it for me. Give me a follow on X at SSN New Mexico for the Sideline Sports Network. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the college.
All right, we are back. We are back from the Mountain West, brought to you by TrueVictory.com. Use code FurmanJoust. It will save you money, 15%. And you help a veteran-owned company. So make sure you go to TrueVictory.com. They got more than just hats, folks. They got shirts. They got all kinds of things. Now we turn it over to our guy right beside me here. We're talking about the ACC and Justin, brought to you by NFM Lending. Make sure you see Justin. He will take care of all your needs. Justin, tell us a little bit about the ACC. I know you just had a wonderful week last week.
Always a great week in the conference that never ceases to amaze, Jay. So definitely another great week for the teams at the top. They all took care of business last week. Clemson went to Wake Forest and just absolutely put it on the Demon Deacons. They put up 28 in the second quarter. Klubnik got his 3 touchdowns, so took care of business there. They stay undefeated in the ACC at 4-0. And then a real surprise for me, kind of surprising the score, not so much the outcome, but Notre Dame absolutely blitzed Stanford last week. They used the second and third quarter to put up 35 points and ended up running away with that one 49-7. The interesting game from last week, though, was the California and Pitt game. So Cal made it a really tough game for the Pittsburgh Panthers, who were at home. So Pittsburgh did still stay undefeated in the ACC too, though. They went to 2-0. Cal was able to, they fell just a little bit short. It was 17-15 in that one. And then the most exciting game of the weekend was the one that was in Chapel Hill with Georgia Tech and North Carolina. Georgia Tech uses a last-minute touchdown to secure their victory there. So they kept North Carolina winless in the ACC. They moved to 3-2 themselves in the conference. So Georgia Tech kind of, shaping up to be the surprise of the ACC this year. So another good one that we had last week was Louisville, Virginia. Louisville took care of business there on the road. So Virginia's kind of been a really good team too. They were undefeated in the conference as well, but they are now 2-1. So. And then the game that was in Raleigh as well, we were at that game as well. So Syracuse and NC State, another tough loss at home for the Wolfpack. They are still winless in the conference as well. And Syracuse is moving towards being a team to be reckoned with. So they are now 5-1 and 2-1 in the ACC. So there's still a lot of football left to be played, but we are going to still be able to talk about some other really good games this week again. Jay, another good slate again this week. The games I really kind of was focused on, the Boston College, Virginia Tech, both those teams coming off a bye last week. So it's going to be interesting to see how Virginia Tech handles that at home. Both teams 1-1 in the ACC. Another good one that we are going to talk about for me this week is Miami Louisville. Miami continues to continue to win. They're still undefeated at the top. They're the top ranked ACC team, but they're going to have to take their show on the road this week to Louisville, and Louisville's coming off a really tough road win. So I think that's going to be a really big game to watch this week. That one's at noon on ABC this week as well. So see if the Hurricanes can continue their momentum. And then we've got a couple of non-conference games as well for our teams in the ACC. Wake Forest is going to be visiting UConn this week, and they are going to see if they can continue to rep the ACC. NC State is going on the road this week to Cal. And we're going to see those two teams are at the bottom of the conference right now. They're both 0-3, so somebody has to win that game. And then another good one that's kind of an older rivalry, the Notre Dame Georgia Tech game this week. Georgia Tech 5-2, Notre Dame 5-1. Notre Dame is going to be heading on the road to Georgia Tech. So Haynes King's got it going on. Haynes, their running back, also is over 500 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns this year as well. So look out for the upset this week, possible there in Atlanta. And then the kind of the shocking game or the team that has come in is SMU, as they come in as still undefeated in the ACC. They ranked for the first time this week. They're 21st. So they are going to be heading on the road to Stanford, though, this week. So we will see if they can take their show on the road this week. But it's going to be another good slate of games, another great group of teams trying to fight it out for the middle of the pack, and hopefully the teams at the top can stay at the top. So ACC still has a chance to get a couple of college football playoff bids. So we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. So it's been a good week, though. Another great time. So again, thanks, Jay, for getting us on in on that.
Thank you, Justin, for all the ACC information. That was great. And remember, this brought to you by NFM Lending.
NFMlending.com.
Yep.
/Jay Bryce. Get all your mortgage needs from me.
Exactly. Now we go to our guy over the SEC. We're talking about the Coaches Box. They always give us a great information about the big SEC, and they are brought to you by Catch This Sports. That's right, Aries Curry and Catch This Sports. If you got kids that need help in sports, get with Aries Curry. That's catchthissports.com. Let's go to our guys over at the SEC. We're talking about the Coaches Box. Bring it to us, guys.
Hello again. This is Kevin Halley from the Coaches Box. Call it like we see it podcast. And I'm here again this week to talk to you about SEC football. We've got a full slate of games within the SEC, in which most of them include at least one ranked team, because why not? It's SEC football. Everything that ranges from a very intriguing game between South Carolina and Oklahoma, all the way down to a Florida-Kentucky matchup that can be very intriguing for both teams, to a high-powered Texas-Georgia matchup that will be really good to see in prime time on Saturday night. So let's get right into it. The only non-conference matchup of the week is going to be Ball State going to Vanderbilt. Not your everyday Vanderbilt. I'm getting more and more sold on Vanderbilt each week. Vanderbilt's I believe a large favorite in this one. And just to keep it short, because it is Ball State and Vanderbilt, I see Vanderbilt kind of continuing on the pathway they're on and getting another win under their belt, which makes the win that my Missouri Tigers have over Vanderbilt look that much better each week. So Vandy, Commodores, keep rolling. It's only going to help our Tigers. First game we'll outside of that we'll talk about is the Kentucky-Florida game in Gainesville. Both teams are at 3-3. Both teams are kind of still struggling and trying to figure out where they're at. Florida is the 2.5-point favorite. It's going to be very close. It's kind of a toss-up here. And I don't know which offense or which defense will be able to control this. It's such an evenly matched game. It's going to come down to whoever has the ball last. That's about what I do believe, and I'm almost for certain on. I kind of see Florida getting the edge on this one because it is at home. Maybe a 3-point game, 24-21, 27-24, something like that. But we could be completely turned over on our heads on this one, and it could be a 10-7 game. But I see probably I'm going to go with Florida winning by a field goal, probably in the last possession for that game. Next game we're going to talk a little bit about is going to be the Mississippi State and Texas A&M. Texas A&M coming off a bye week. number 14 ranked Texas A&M. They've gotten better and better and better each week since their week 1 loss, I believe, to Notre Dame. Mississippi State is going to struggle in this game. It is at Mississippi State, but I just think Texas A&M is too good. Mike Elko has been really good for this program, and they're doing a lot of really good things. I see Mississippi State winning this one big by 3+ touchdowns. Their quarterback, it looked really good 2 weeks ago against Missouri. Has 2 weeks prepare, 2 more weeks to get healthy. He was still a little bit banged up, but played in that game at Missouri and looked really good. With him being more healthy, Texas A&M's offense rolls against Mississippi State by 3+ touchdowns. Next up is the homecoming game at Missouri. The founders of homecoming, the first ever homecoming. I don't care what other colleges say. Missouri holds that claim. I'm going to stay to it. But Auburn, the 2-4 Auburn Tigers come to Missouri, to Columbia, for a homecoming matchup against the 5-1 Tigers. The Tigers are the favorite in this one by 4.5 points. But they righted the ship a little bit against a not very good UMass team last week. The Auburn Tigers, their offense has been a little bit better. It hasn't been bad. They're throwing the ball a little bit more than what they've been, a little bit better than what they have been in the past. But I think Mizzou's defense probably will be able to negate a lot of that passing attack that Auburn has been able to kind of find their footing with. But Auburn's going to have to throw a lot to win this game, and the pass rush of Missouri is too good. I see the offense from Missouri still kind of still rolling after picking up some steam against UMass and kind of finding some confidence there. And that's the big thing that I think was missing with Missouri in a couple of weeks. They were getting wins, but they weren't doing it consistently enough and with enough firepower is what everybody thought they were going to do. I kind of see this as the game that could jumpstart that offense. I do see Mizzou winning by 2 touchdowns. Auburn's still a good team. It's an SEC team, but this is going to be a good win on homecoming for Missouri by 2 touchdowns. Next up is LSU and Arkansas in Fayetteville. It's a primetime game. Arkansas comes in at 4-2, LSU at 5-1, and I believe LSU is ranked number, I believe top 10. I believe they're near the top 10. It just slipped my mind, and I had it in front of me and lost it. So LSU is number 8. Number 8. Sorry, had to go look that up. Make sure I got it right. LSU is the 3-point favorite in this. Arkansas has been much better this year than what they were last year. They're coming in at 4-2. I think this is kind of going to be the upset special of the week. I see Arkansas being able to pull this one out at the end. Like I said, in the past few weeks, I'm still not a huge even though the numbers don't back me up on this, I'm not a Garrett Nussmeier fan. He doesn't pass the eye test for me. He has numbers, but I just see some things that I think I think Arkansas at home is going to be able to get the win over this one. I think their quarterback should be back this week, Taylor Green. And I think that's going to give Arkansas a boost, especially offensively in the run game. And I think they're going to be able to do some things against that LSU defense with the run game. They're going to control the possession clock. I think they're going to be able to pull this out. It's going to be very close. I think it's going to be 24-20. Arkansas at home, they get the win. Next game we're going to cover, I'm going to talk about, is South Carolina and Oklahoma. This is going to be in Norman. So South Carolina, Beamer takes his team to Norman to take on the 4-2 Sooners. South Carolina, I think their offense is better this year. It's been really, really good. Their quarterback play has been really good. And expect to see them continue to be able to do that because I just think they've been very good. They weren't. They need to be better than they were last week. And if South Carolina can convert, I was reading something, can convert on third downs. I think Oklahoma's like 100 plus in the nation in third down conversions. I think they're going to be able to find a way to get this pulled out. But if they can do that, that's if OU gets to third down. I think that there's just OU has too much talent. I think OU has too much going for them, especially in the run game. Quarterback play has been good. I think they're going to be much better. I do see Oklahoma getting this win in Norman, and I think it's going to be like a 31-21 game. I think they pull away towards the end, but I take Oklahoma in this one as well. The two highlighted games for this weekend, the first one I'm going to talk about is going to be Alabama and Tennessee, where Josh Heupel and his Volunteers are hosting Alabama. Alabama's still highly ranked. Tennessee still ranked, even coming off a loss. I don't know which way to go with this one. Alabama, I still think, should be a better team than what they're showing on the field. On paper, they're a much better team than what they're showing. But I just don't know whether there's enough around Jaden Milroe, who has been really, really good this year. He should be a very high Heisman candidate. I just don't know that there's enough consistent talent around him to be able to kind of carry this team on his own back. The defense has to play a little bit better. They have to get some more stops than what they have been, and that's tough to do against a Tennessee offense who's been pretty good this year. So there's the Tennessee pass defense is where I think their biggest weakness is. They've given up a lot of yards to a lot of quarterbacks over the last few weeks. And this is where I think Milroe can kind of expose this defense. This is going to be a very high-scoring game, I believe. I think both teams will get into the high 30s, maybe even into the 40s. I expect it to be a 40-35 Alabama win in Tennessee. I think it's going to be a very big win, and I think it's just going to further expose, while his offense is very good, Josh Heupel's defense, and they need to be better moving forward. But I expect Alabama to get the win in Tennessee on this. And the highlight of the week, the high game of the week in the SEC, is number 5 Georgia and number 1 Texas. This is going to be played in Austin, Texas. It's the primetime game, 7:30 on Saturday night. Texas at 6-0, Georgia at 5-1. If Georgia needs to erase that Alabama loss from their resume, it's going to take a win over Texas, especially on the road. Here's the problem, though. Texas has the best quarterback room in the country, and it's not even close. They have one of the best offenses in the country, and it's not even close. And it's going to be very difficult because Texas is a 5-point favorite over the number 5 team in the country. The defense for Georgia is very good. I just don't know if it's enough to hold down the offense of Texas. There are a lot of people calling for a Georgia upset here. I can't do it. Texas is too good, especially at home. And I see Texas getting the win 30-24. So you're going to see a lot of it on Party Line. I've only got the one upset that I talked about that I see coming. I expect Arkansas to beat LSU, but beyond that, I expect it to be kind of along the party line here when it comes to rankings and who gets the wins. So thank you again. Again, if you don't subscribe to the Coach's Box, you can get us on Facebook, YouTube, the X, and on Twitch. So thank you very much. See you next week.
Welcome back. I'm telling you, that was some great news from the SEC. Thanks to all the guys over there at the Coach's Box. And I'll tell you what, brought to you by Catch This Sports, Aries Curry, get with him, catchthissports.com. They are right now raising money to get their facility, so get with them. But now we go to our guest picker, and guest picker, we're letting you know you are brought to you by Fritos Scoops. That's right, Fritos Scoops. Yes, we want Fritos as a sponsor, so Fritos, if you're out there, if you're watching, we got you. We got you. We also want to thank the Pop-Tart Bowl. That's right, Pop-Tart Bowl. He might have been thrown in the oven, but guess what? He's right here in this box. So come on, get Pop-Tarts. Kellogg's, we're right here. Sponsorships, we're good for you. That's right. Now, but we want to get to the real thing. We're talking about the guest speaker. We're talking about a man that we are just loving is able to get on the show. Brought to you by the Point RV at Lake Hartwell. We love everybody out there. If you're looking for a place to camp, if you're looking for a place to go, and you're in the area of the upper state of South Carolina, go to the Point RV at Lake Hartwell. All right, let's bring him in. It's Cuthbert. How we doing?
I'm doing great, fellas. How we doing today?
It's fantastic, man. Another great day, another great week of college football, another great slate of games again this week. So excited to kind of go round robin again. This is what we kind of do. We'll go round robin, give our takes on the picks this week, but glad to have you on. Thanks for joining in.
Happy to be here.
Good. We're going to start you off with a big one, man, down in the SEC. So I'm going to let you kick it off with Bama, Tennessee. Who do you got in that one?
You know, this is a tricky one. Bama, when last I saw, was favored by 3. This is obviously going to be a huge game. This is the game of the week on everybody's slate. I think Alabama's upside is better than Tennessee's upside. I think Tennessee is a really quality team, but I don't think they're quite to the level of being able to punch with the Georgias and the Alabamas and the Texases of the SEC. I think I'm going to have to go with Bama on this one.
I like it. So, Jay, who are you going to take this week in the Roll Tide, or are you going to go with the Tennessee Burnt Orange?
Well, I don't really like either one of these teams. But if I had to sum it up in a song, Rocky Top, you'll always be 4th and short to me. That's right. That was a song that was played whenever Tennessee couldn't score that final touchdown on LSU back when I was an LSU fan. That was a long time ago. But guess what? I'm going to pick Tennessee.
I like it. So I'm definitely giving me Bama. I got to make up some things from last week. Give me Bama this week. I think they get the job done on the road. I do think Milroe is going to be the difference in this game. I think his experience in the SEC means a lot. I think Nico is definitely going to be a future stud, but I think it's Jaden Milroe and them's turn to get that done this week. So give me Bama. And then we're going to stick to the SEC, another huge big one. We got Dogs and Longhorns. So, Jay, I know you've been down hanging out with some of the cows around there, your town. So I'm going to let you take this one. You taking the Longhorns this week, or are you going with the Dogs?
Well, you know, you go down there to the pasture, mess around with the cows, and then you bring your little puppy dog down there, and them cows be kicking the fool out of it. But the problem is this puppy dog might want to start showing its bark a little bit better. So I tell you what, give me the upset Georgia over Texas in Texas.
I love it. So let's go ahead. Let's get your thoughts on it as well, my friend. What do you got?
Well, you know, this game's getting played in Austin, and I think that's going to be a distinct advantage. I wouldn't at all be surprised to learn after the game that somehow the air conditioning in the UGA locker room wasn't working. I think UGA is the big dog in the yard, but they got a black eye after their loss to Alabama. I think Kirby Smart pulls this out. I think UGA is going to go into Austin. Texas is a great team. I don't want to take anything away from them, but I'm going UGA.
All right. I got to go against the grain on this one, so I'm taking Texas. I made the mistake of not taking them last week. I made the decision to post on Twitter that Ewers was going to the sewers last week, and he straight up dogged me last week. So I think they are for real. They were one of my picks to be at the top of the SEC to start the season, so I'm going to still take the Longhorns to get it done at home this week. If this game was in Athens, I'd probably have a little bit different take on it. But with it being in Austin, I think they're going to get it done this week. So looking forward to that as well. So, another one that we're going to be setting up for us next on the slate is going to be in the Big Ten. We're going to be going with another big game with Indiana and Nebraska this week. Nebraska's obviously having a really good season. Indiana's just come from out of nowhere to stay undefeated. So, Jay, I'm going to let you give your take on that one first.
Well, as our good buddy Run the Damn Ball for Nebraska says, run that ball. Give me Nebraska over Indiana.
I hear you, Cuth. Who you got this week for that one?
You know, I think Indiana has performed so well. They're 6-0 with a I don't know, fairly weak schedule, but I think they're beating the teams they've played the way a top 25 team should.
Yep.
Nebraska, I think, is a little undervalued at 5-1. You know, interestingly enough, Nebraska has only a so-so run game statistically, which is a little unexpected, I think, based on them. But given Indiana's strong run defense, I think this is all going to come down to I think you pronounce his name Raiola. I don't know.
Yeah, Dylan Raiola.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go Nebraska on this one. I think Indiana. I think they take their first loss.
Yep.
Jay, go ahead and take it away. Give us your thoughts on that. You just going to take straight up Nebraska this week?
Yes, exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's me too, across the board. So we got a good mix on that one. But we're heading to the ACC now, and what used to be a really, really good week for me is going to be another thing that I've got some criticisms for the NC State team. But these two teams are two of the worst in the ACC, so somebody has to win this one. So, Cuth, I'm going to let you take it away. Does NC State get it done in Berkeley, or do the Cal Bears come out this week?
I think the Cal Bears are going to come out this week. I think they've got a groundswell of support after the Auburn win, and they've stumbled a little bit, but I see Cal taking this.
Jay, who are you going to take in this one?
Cal.
He's got Cal. He's going with the Bears. I've said this every week. At some point, I'm going to be right. I'm going to promise you that, Jay. I'm taking NC State on the road to win this game. At some point, I will be correct about that. So they did show a little bit of hope last week. Their offense did start to get things together. They just couldn't get out of their own way last week with the turnovers. So I think if they can clean the turnovers up this week, I think they'll get it done against the Cal Bears. So another good one that, you know, harking back to my childhood days watching Rudy, but it's Notre Dame and Georgia Tech this week. So I'm going to let Cuth take that one first this week.
Yeah, Notre Dame's a big favorite on this one. Last I saw, they were favored by 8.5. You know, both teams are averaging over 200 yards a game on the ground, but they're limiting their opponents to under 100. You know, Georgia Tech's got a lot of really great statistics. They're looking like they're a little more pass-based than Notre Dame is. But I think Notre Dame is gonna win this one. I think it's going to be closer than the spread. But I got Notre Dame.
Jay, who are you taking this week? You want to go ACC or faux ACC is what I call it.
Let me have Georgia Tech in this game. I think it's going to be an upset. I think it's going to be like a 1-point game, like a 21-20 or 14-13. I don't see a lot of scoring in this game. That's what I got.
Yeah, I'm taking the Jackets at home this week too. I think this game is a prime upset for Notre Dame. Notre Dame always tends to trip over itself, you know, 2 or 3 times a year. So with this being a rivalry game for them, I think the Jackets get it done. I do like Haynes King. I like Haynes, their running back, as well. So I think Georgia Tech gets it done this week at home. I think they're starting to show who they really are as a football team. They're growing over these last 2 years. So good to see them. And good for the conference as well. So
Yep.
I'm taking the Jackets this week. Next one we're heading up is Michigan and Illinois. 2 teams that, you know, we kind of were going different directions, but, you know, Michigan struggled this year. But, Jay, I'm going to let you talk about this one first.
Well, there's really not much to talk about. I think Michigan's in a struggle mode right now. Illinois gets the win at home.
All right, Cuth, who are you taking in this one?
I got to agree. I'm going to go with Illinois. Looking at how these offenses are running, I think that if this game was being played in Ann Arbor, maybe in late November, I'd give it to Michigan, but it's supposed to
Yep.
be sunny and 70 in Champaign. So I'm going to go Illinois.
Yep, I agree.
Yep, give me Illinois as well again this week. So that's another across the board that we all agree on that one. So should be fun to watch in that one. But Charlotte and Navy is next. UNC Charlotte, an up and coming program as well. Navy is now in the top 25 as well. So good to see how they are playing. Who do you guys got in that one? I'm gonna start with Jay this time.
Well, first thing, Army and Navy in the top 25 has not been. It's been a long time since that's happened, and I tell you what, I think it's long overdue. These teams should have been in the top 25 a couple weeks back, but we won't go. We won't worry about that because it's about time for the college playoff rankings, which is what we really care about. Give me Navy in this game. I think Navy's just too much for Charlotte. I've been a pro Charlotte picker. But this game, Navy's just going to be too much. Give me Navy in this game to keep going up the polls.
I like it. So, Cuth, who are you going to take in this one?
I've said it on my game day show, and I'll say it again. Biff Poggi is my spirit animal. I love him, and I love to see Charlotte do well. But coming off a bye, I don't see how they can overcome Navy. I think there's just too much standing in their way. I'm going Navy.
Again, all of us in agreement on that too. So I'm going to take Navy as well for this week. So we're going to head down to Jay's country now, the SoCon world. We got Sanford, and they're going to be taking on Mercer this week. So, Cuth, I'm going to let you take that one, and I'll let you start this time.
Well, truth be told, I'm not super familiar with the SoCon this season, but Mercer's at a 6-0. Undefeated start. Sanford is below 500. I think DJ Smith, if he can limit his interceptions and they can feed McGee on the ground, I think it's Mercer all day.
Awesome. Jay, who are you taking? I know this is right up your alley.
I agree with wholeheartedly Mercer in this game over Sanford.
Yeah, we talked to the coaching staff, at the SoCon Media Day with Mercer, and they were extremely confident in their team this year, and I'm taking them as well for this week. I really like what they're doing with that program. I think they've kind of seized control for the SoCon this week, so I think they will get it done against Sanford as well. So looking forward to that game, though. I enjoy watching these Southern Conference games. It's always fun to get out there and do that. But Jay, next up, we're going to go Grambling. I'm going to let you take this one. Who you got in this one as well?
Grambling versus UAPB. I think Grambling is going to win this game. I think they've gotten control of their season, and I think this is where they start marching up.
Who are you going to take this week on this one?
I got to go in the opposite direction of you, Jay. I think that Grambling is going to need to limit Gibson in receiving and Ross in terms of what he can do at the running back position for UAPB. And I know that Grambling should be the favorite on paper, but I'm going for the upset.
Okay.
I'm going UAPB.
I like it. I love the Grambling. I love that. I love their band. I love everything about it. So give me them this week. I'm going to go against y'all too this week, try to make up a little bit of points this week. So give me them in the win this week. I think they're better. So Tennessee State and Howard, another HBCU matchup. So Jay, I'm going to let you take that one away first. Who are you going to take in this one?
Both these teams have actually shown a lot of promise, and this game I kind of was back and forth with, but give me Howard in this game over Tennessee State since it is going to be at Howard.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So what are your thoughts on this one?
I think this all comes down to one player. I think Draylon Ellis is too good. I think Tennessee State is going to go into Howard, and they're going to take it.
I like it. So I'm going to follow right up there with you. I've really liked these Tennessee State teams. I've started to, follow with SoCon. You get the East Tennessee. So give me Tennessee State as well this week. I think they get the job done. So no offense to my friends at Howard because one of my best friends' name's Howard. But I'm going to go against them this week and take Tennessee State. But next up, we're going to be heading as well for our next matchup. We're going to be heading down to the Big 12 with Baylor and Texas Tech. So is it going to be the Bears or is it going to be Texas Tech? Cuz I'm going to let you start out with that one.
Baylor's coming off the bye, time to get healthy, a little extra time to prep, but they're also coming off 3 losses. I think Tennessee Tech stumbled in week 1, but they've really been on a roll since then. And I think their offense is going to be too much. I'm taking Tennessee Tech.
Jay, who you going with?
I agree with him. Give me Texas Tech.
All right.
Texas Tech. I think I may have said Tennessee Tech right there. Texas
Tech. You're good. You're good.
There's Tennessee Tech as well, so they're good too. So that's why I'm taking them too. But give me Baylor this week. I'm going against the grain again. I'm taking the Bears. I didn't pick the Bears in the NC State game, so I'm kind of hedging my bets with this one. I'm going to take, the Bears on this one. So give me them in this game as well. So I got to do something to make up some points from my last week. Last week was really bad for me on the picking show. So, but next up we got Hawaii and Washington State, another really good matchup as well. One of my favorite places to go as well. So Cuth, take it away. I'm gonna let you talk that game this week.
Yeah, Hawaii, they're playing in what's effectively a modified high school stadium. You know what I mean? They're having a little bit of a down year. Washington State, in my opinion, is really undervalued. I think they've got some really quality wins and should be knocking on the door of getting ranked. I think Washington State takes this easily.
Yep. Jay, who you got this week?
I totally agree with him. Washington State.
Yep. Give me Wazoo this week too. So definitely on board with that one. And then we're going to go with our game of the week this week is going to be Emory versus Anderson. So, Jay, I'm going to let you take that one away this week. I know this is one of your favorites for the week, so I'm going to let you talk about that one.
Well, there's not much talk about Anderson. This is their first year as a football team. They've done very well in the SAC. And I tell you what, I think they take down Emory and Henry at Anderson and get the win and will boost their way up in the standings.
Absolutely. So, Cutler, who are you going to take in this one? I know.
I got to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit here. I am from originally the Old Dominion, and I got a soft spot in my heart for Emory and Henry, and I think they're going to take it.
Give me Anderson. I'm taking them this week. I think they're at home, so I think they'll get that job done this week as well. So. But we appreciate you joining on, man. Thanks for giving us your thoughts. We always enjoy your takes and everything on the show. So we actually got to meet you live today for the first time. So thank you for joining on.
It's great. It's my pleasure.
So, well, Jay, that is going to wrap it up for us for the picks. But next up, where we're heading to. I mean, he's somewhere out there in the middle of South Carolina. I don't know where he's at this time, but.
Uncle Bobby is he's a little crazy, and you never know what he's going to be doing. I don't know what his pick is. I mean, all I've been told is we are going to be surprised at the game he picks and where he's at. So, Lord mercy, I'm going to let you take it from there, Justin. Of course, all we know is that he's brought to you by Clemson Wine Bar because that's his favorite spot. Is he there or is he somewhere else?
We don't know, Jay. That's just all we know. We know that he's going to have something crazy for us, but he's been pretty spot on with some of his picks this year. So at least we got to give him a little bit of credit. So, but yeah, we appreciate it. To our friends over at Clemson Wine Bar as well. And Bobby, take it away.
Hello, everybody. It's your old pal, Uncle Bobby. I took last week off because you know what? Even Uncle Bobby needs some rest because I just haven't been where I should be as far as my picks. But this week, we're talking Georgia and Texas. That's right, Georgia and Texas. And fans, it's going to be a backyard brawl. That's right. And first thing I want to say is, on this hat here, why is Justin on here? It should be me. Get rid of Jay, get rid of Justin. It should be me on the TGFF hat. That's right. Get it exclusively at redbubble.com for Joust. Anyway, let me talk about Georgia and Texas. Everybody's saying Texas is the best team since sliced bread. Well, guess what? You're not the best team. And that's right. Georgia's gonna be ready this game. Kirby Smart, he's got a whole team full of convicts. I mean, whole team of players, and they're going to be ready for this game. Give me Georgia over Texas Longhorns, and it's going to be a backyard brawl like never before. That's right. Give me Georgia over Texas. Woo!
Well, Justin, once again, Bobby finds a way to create havoc at the end of our show. He
Absolutely.
wasn't here last week, so I guess he's making up for it. So, anyway, we just want to thank each and every person that watches us. Make sure you follow us. We got all kinds of websites. We got, of course, wholepackofwolves.com. NC State fans, go there for all your NC State information, videos, and also their Whole Pack of Wolves podcast. We want to thank Greenville Sports Media and who supports TGFF Game Day. Make sure you go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like, and comment. We would love that. We'll have all kinds of small videos there you can also check out. Also, Greenville Sports Media has a YouTube. We also want to thank defangirls.com, and we also want to thank FurmanJoust.com. All of our great websites. Make sure you're part of the Greenville Sports Media Nation. We have so many things going on. You will not be disappointed. Follow us. We got all the news and notes from all your local teams, as well as all your information from all across the nation.
Jay, it's gonna be another great week. So looking forward to it. Thank you guys so much for following us and watching the show. So for those of you who are continuing to give us the support, we really do appreciate it. Thanks for all the love. Thanks for all our sponsors as well. We really do appreciate y'all's support. So looking forward to another good one, Jay. We'll see you guys again next week. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we will see you again soon.
TGFF, back up for football. Game day. 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 You have tuned in to another episode of Thank God for Football, brought to you by the Fanboys, powered by Greenville Sports Media.